approximately 10:05, 5 minutes moving away from 10 o'clock. And as mentioned to you by Hortensia earlier on our prior program, which was Island Tea, she stated that we will be having a bit of a conversation with a Mr. Douglas Gillanders, and he will be speaking to perhaps some concerns and questions he has in a property that is of close proximity to where he resides. And without further delay, I'm going to go over and say good morning to you, Mr. Gillanders, and how are you today?
Good morning. I'm very welcome. You're welcome. I'd like to thank Voices for giving me the opportunity to bring this issue to a wider audience for discussion.
Yes. And so without further delay, I'm going to let you go right off into why you're here. Let us know your concerns.
All right. Basically, as a Kittian, I was born here, and my family's owned the property opposite Fort Thomas Hotel since the early 1960s, and I now own it. And I noticed that works were being undertaken on the grounds, and I wondered what was going on because it's in my line of sight directly opposite me. I noticed that the swimming pool was being demolished, seemingly without permission. In fact, this is one of the issues that I would like to talk about is planning permission. And I was told in October last year by the physical planning department that one required planning permission for demolition. And I was asking this not in regard to Fort Thomas, but to the property to my north. And I was asked why no action was taken because they didn't have planning permission and they didn't want to upset anybody. I was concerned that what could be built there could be a towering block and affect my property inversely or negatively. Zoning doesn't appear to be a high priority in St. Kitts. I haven't been able to find what zones are. I'm interested in a couple of main issues. So I went to the planning department to see the application or the planning permission for the development of Fort Thomas site. I was advised that the public could not see them. And if I wanted to see them, I would have to ask the developer to show me. Well, if the developer has something that's not kosher, I don't think they're going to want to show me.
Yeah.
But I would like to point out that the United Kingdom, which provides legal precedent for our laws and is the highest court of appeal in our country, has laws which are the law unless subsequently changed by our laws.
I agree.
And they have all planning applications as a matter of public record for all to view,
Scrutinize,
and scrutinize, and make valid objection
Yes.
should that be
The case,
required.
yes.
Nevis also allows public viewing of commercial development plans. However, the planning department here say that they have authority to deny access to any planning application, to view any planning application or permission. They are unable to quote any law clause that specifically stated that public or interested or potentially affected parties' access is prohibited.
Yeah.
I've asked this on several occasions. Unfortunately, it's hitting a brick wall. They quote a Development Act which they states that it must keep records, but nowhere does it state viewing by public is prohibited or forbidden.
You see, Mr. Gillanders, I'm glad you're making these statements because when we as citizens who are not of faith, when we as citizens who are not au fait with things that you are, when we go and we say to them, we ask questions, they just arrogantly give us, flippant, casual answers. But you are someone who knows, who is au fait with the laws and that kind of stuff. So when you hear certain things, you're going to question them. Well, why are they saying this way? As far as I know, this is the case. So yeah, we're following you. So you can continue.
Well, so today they have not provided such information as I requested.
Yeah.
I did visit the developer, as they suggested, and they did show me several options. They said they have planning permission, but I didn't see it. the options including retention of the fortifications, Fort Thomas, naturally.
Yes, yes.
And this is one of the issues, our historic heritage.
Most definitely.
And one of the options they had was retention of the fortifications. One was demolition of the fortifications and reconstruction further to the west, that's Lime Hill, with a Disney World-like Sinkits inside. I love Sinkits in front.
Yes.
Demolition of the fortifications and reconstruction further to east, which is further towards town. Demolition of fortifications and building over the area. I then harassed, I guess, the planning department,
Yes.
and they said I could view the environmental impact report, the EIA, or EIR, that the demolition of fortifications is a planned decision on the documents that I finally saw this year. I've been trying since October last year to find this out.
Okay, pause a minute, because that demolition of fortification, that has been a big concern for us and for people associated with the Heritage Society. What authority do you have to demolish fortification? What fortification will they demolish, and that kind of stuff?
Well, as far as I know, that the Fort Thomas was actually a fort,
Yes,
and it was to guard the Bar State entrance.
yes,
There were several cannons and small fortifications. The buildings that were originally there are long gone. I remember
Yes.
when Magistrate called Chiefy Wade, some
Yes.
of the listeners might not know,
yes.
but Chiefy Wade lived down at Portlands and on the site. It was sad when he left. The problem with the fortifications is that we only have so many fortifications on the island.
Yes.
And if we start demolishing them willy-nilly, we will have no heritage left.
Most definitely.
Apparently, there was a list done in the 90s, and there were some 200 particular heritage sites listed. I think they were ranked from, I think, 1 to, I don't know how many, maybe 10. But obviously, Brimson Hill was in the first rank.
Yes.
And I understand that Fort Thomas is in one of the top rankings.
Most definitely.
And I know that even from the developers' plans that they showed me, they could do it by maintaining that.
Okay.
And that was part of what they said they could do.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I don't know what
If
they're doing.
they will do.
Right now, the fortifications are covered with a huge pile of earth. And my fear is, well, if it's going to be demolished, it's going to be demolished.
Yeah.
But I think they will do is, oh, well, we're removing the earth and the ruins got caught up and removed. What people don't know is that right on those fortifications was a concrete post, which was a navigation light.
Yeah.
And the government has since replaced that because that's broken. And they've put up a steel navigation light.
Okay.
I don't see anything on the plans. I can actually show you plans, copies of plans that the developer gave me.
Yes.
I don't see the attention given to that, and I actually pointed that out to them.
Okay.
So that's a separate issue. That's a navigation, and if you remove navigation points, you have to alert
Yeah.
a lot of institutions.
Yeah. Well, it's good that there's someone like you who is not only concerned, but aware of the history, one, and also bold enough to approach, because a lot of people are intimidated to approach developers and say, well, so why are you doing? What are you doing, and why are you doing this?
Okay, one, I'm a Cretian through and through, and I believe that we should do everything to increase the value of our country.
I agree.
We have certain products that we have or assets, and we should maximize these. We should not just destroy them. We should not import foreign design. That's another issue. I'm not worried about the design myself, but I am concerned about the fact that the historic element of our society is going to one, be demolished.
Yes.
Two, that fortification is within my line of sight from my property as well. So that is a, well, personal.
It's a passion. It's a passion.
Selfish thing.
I
But
wouldn't say it's selfish. I would say you said that you are a Kittian through and through.
yeah,
So it would be a passion for any Kittian to say their history being demolished or tarnished in any way.
I'm wanting it to be retained,
Yes.
and I don't mind repairs to it.
Yes.
I mean, look at Brimston Hill. What people don't know is that many years ago, decades ago, after the fire in Bastia, people were allowed to go up to Brimston Hill and take materials to rebuild in town. That's why Brimston Hill is not as in perfect condition as it is.
should
And it's a World Heritage Site. Can you imagine if we had retained the original buildings?
Yeah.
We'd had a much more interest.
Much more picturesque.
Yes,
thing.
and we would attract more tourists.
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a bit of a commercial break, and when we come back, I want you to go back to the main body of your discussion, you know.
I have a couple other points, but we'll deal with that later.
When we come back after the break, yeah. We'll take a break approximately every 50 minutes or thereabout, give you a bit of a breather. You can take a sip of water, and yeah.
Thank you.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the inflator can rupture, shooting shrapnel through the airbag, which can cause serious injury or even death. Don't risk it, fix it.
Please contact TDC Automotive Division to find out if your Toyota vehicle is affected by the Takata airbag recall. Visit or call us at 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis.
What are you doing?
She said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh. She said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh. Cause when we out and we active, living we life. So when we drink, we drinking. Rude boy. So when we drink, we drinking. Rude boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we are we building up our vibes. So when we drink, we drinking. Rude boy. So when we drink, we drinking. Rude boy. Why?
And we are back. The time is 18 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour, and we're going to go back to Mr. Gillanders in a minute. But before I do that, let me say again to you, Mr. Gillanders, I'm very impressed with what you have put forward to us so far, and I'm also impressed with the fact that you, as you stated, you're a Kittitian, and you're concerned about our heritage, our history, how it will move into posterity. So let me commend you for that. And now
Thank
you
you.
can go back to continuing your presentation.
Thank you. The problem that I face, or I think we all face, is that getting information from the government. I've gone to the government information site and it's not very well informed. That needs some work, and I would encourage the government to do that. The PPL, which is physical planning, said that the environmental department had the EIA report, for instance,
Yes.
and that they had sent it to the environmental department,
Yeah.
but they couldn't give it to me because of that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that arose was they sent an email copy, so they actually had a copy of the environmental report at
Yes.
planning,
Yes.
but they wouldn't let me see it. Although
Okay.
planning permission had already, I believe, been awarded.
Okay.
This is a department that is there to look after the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, St. Kitts anyway. And as acting as if everything is some sort of major national secret to
Yeah.
be kept from the general public. And I think is that it's very important for the general public to express an interest in the way forward and what is happening in St. Kitts.
agree.
Let us not turn a blind eye.
Yeah, I feel that we as the Kittitians, a lot of us, it seems sadly the majority of us are very casual with very serious things. And this thing where the certain authorities they feel they can just flippantly tell you, well, no, we can't give you this, or we can't tell you this, we can't show you that, or it's a trade secret from somebody else. Well, what happened to the indigenous people? What happened to us, the natives? What happened to us, the Kittitians? Where does our priority begin and end? So I agree with you.
So that's the interest I have there. Furthermore, you mentioned the Heritage Trust, and I'd like to say that my understanding is that they made a presentation to planning.
Yes.
That basically was to no avail, as the information that I have is that despite their representation for it to be retained, it is going to be destroyed.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Why we have the most historical sites in the Caribbean, and my question is, why are we destroying them?
I can't answer that question. It baffles me.
Well, there are a number of concerned citizens, and I would like everybody to be concerned for the future of our economy. I'll give you another one about the Fort Thomas. I understand that it was allegedly a Carib Indian burial site.
Yes.
Now, whether this is myth, legend, or actual fact, I know of no investigation done to ascertain whether it was or what not.
Yes.
I will admit that when Fort Thomas was built in the 1960s, the hotel, they didn't do an investigation then, but people weren't aware of things as they are now.
Yes.
So why are we destroying our actual heritage and importing a Taj Mahal mausoleum-style development?
That is what baffled me.
I mean, it doesn't represent. Does it really represent
No, it
us
does not.
in the in St. Kitts or
No.
us in the Caribbean?
No.
If somebody wanted to get married in front of the Taj Mahal, which is a beautiful edifice, they would fly to India. It's less expensive from Europe than coming here. Why would you want to come here and look at a Disneyland-esque type
Presentation. Or
presentation, right?
representation, Yes.
So that was my main concerns, is that
And further to that, I am. If you look at me, I have original Carib blood. You understand? Stemming from my link and roots on Nevis over here. That's one. Number two, this is an integral part of our history as a people. You understand?
yes,
Involving, including the Middle Passage, slavery, selling, buying, commerce, that kind of stuff. This is a relevant part of our history. When we go and we say in the schools, so and so and so, and then there was a Fort Thomas, and the part that it played in our history, why do we want to destroy that?
well, you can't erase history. You can stop looking at it and not paying attention to it. But that's not the way forward. If we look at other islands, I would take Barbados as an example. They have a tremendous amount of historical
Yes.
elements. And what they have done is they have taken those elements and they have made them money earners for the island. This is what we should be doing here
That
in
is, I
St.
agree,
Kitts.
that is what we should be doing. And again, to what you were saying earlier, even when the prior developers were doing the Fort Thomas Hotel, they kept the aesthetics of the history. There were the guns and the so forth, and the same the lighthouse kind of thing, and that kind. So
In-
why are we now wanting to destroy
Well,
them?
in fact, when they did it, they actually used cut stone to build the walls to the swimming pool to try and blend in.
Yes, yes.
And make sure that the heritage was acknowledged.
And that was part of the attraction. When you came and you were up in those rooms and you looked down, someone could say, well, you see those stones, they come from so and so, and you see those guns. You understand?
Yes, absolutely.
So why are you? I mean, it baffles me.
Well, I think you and I are not the people with the answers, and I would like to take this opportunity to invite those people that decide whether or not something should be destroyed,
Yeah.
should come on a program like this, and it should be made much more public, whether it's a town hall meeting or, as I said, a program like this, but it should be public and not be done behind closed doors by a select one or two people.
Individuals. And the trend that we see happening is it seems as if though the developers come and the developers, we're following the developers' rules as opposed to the planning unit and rules and so forth that are here prior. It seems as if though that's the way it is.
Well, the planning permission and the way it has been done on this particular project, I think the government wanted the development of the Fort Thomas Dell, which had been abandoned for many, many years. In fact,
Yes.
I was given some shares, 20 shares in the St. Kitts Tourism Company when Fort Thomas was built. Okay, the shares are worth nothing now. I think there was an accountant here who has this share certificate, and I'll never get it back now,
Okay.
but it's not worth anything. But the whole idea is that, yes, we need to take our heritage, all the assets we have, preserve them, and make money with them.
From them, I agree.
Right.
We do have a caller, so you
Okay.
want to entertain
Certainly,
the caller?
certainly.
Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning to everybody, and once more again, greetings in Jesus Christ's name to everybody. Now, I'm trying to follow the gentleman, so I'm going to say something to see if I'm following him correctly. Excuse me, just cleared my throat a bit, sorry. Now, the gentleman, did he start out by saying that he had private property that was somewhere, that was in somewhere affected
In the vicinity.
by what's going on?
The opposite it, sir.
Fort Thomas Hotel, right?
Yes.
Yes, and you have now moved on to speaking in general about heritage sites and that sort of stuff. Am I following you correctly?
about specifically about the Fort Thomas, that he's able to view from where he resides.
Oh, okay. It's very interesting to hear what he's saying. No, he said, the gentleman said he went to government to get certain information, but he was hindered from getting that information. No, I'm wondering, something that does really amaze me in St. Kitts, okay? Other than maybe under normal, and I stress normal circumstances, the only information I see that government might want to keep secret, have a good argument to keep secret under normal circumstances, is probably people-specific tax information, okay? Other than that, and it's a specific tax information, other than that, I don't see anything else that our government have that are not supposed, that cannot be made public and not supposed to be made public. Everything else I see that government have ought to be fully made public, because we do not have weapons of mass destruction, okay? We do not have a spy program.
You know.
Where we spy in another country. These are things you keep secret for national security. Okay? Such things, such military and intelligence activities, and these are things you keep for secret for national security. What, other than, like I said, maybe specific on the normal, it's just normal circumstances where you don't reveal specific taxpayer information, what else do we have that we can justify to keeping it secret?
Would you like me to write?
Go ahead.
One of the answers, and I'll speak directly in relation to the planning permission, was that the planning department, someone there told me that they were not doing it because you, sir, might be building a house and you would not necessarily want somebody else to know the layout of your building.
The design.
Therefore, it could be a security hazard for you later on with burglars or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But when you look at elsewhere, including the United Kingdom as well, it's free access public record.
Okay.
And if they wanted a security aspect of it, you could record the names of people who looked at various applications, and therefore, should a burglary occur in a very short time, you would have possible suspect.
Yes, yes.
But generally speaking, I would like to point out that I don't want to see the doorknobs or the bathroom layouts of this development.
Yes,
I welcome the development. I welcome the remuneration of this site.
yes,
My concern is I wanted to see the site plan.
yes,
Now, the site plan includes the Fort Thomas fortifications.
yes.
And then secondly, it has been brought to my attention that the entrance at the bottom is going to be closed off, and that there is going to be a 40 to 80 foot, maybe 100 foot entrance on the Wigley Avenue Road, directly opposite my property.
Oh,
So this is now going to affect me personally and my property value and
in terms of
other
your
things.
view of the,
Well, one, I'll have increased traffic. That's understandable.
yeah,
I'll have difficulty in parking because I will be interrupting the natural flow of traffic in
Yes.
and out of it.
yes,
So I now expect after 60 years a big yellow line to be painted right down outside my house. I actually told the planning department some years ago that I could save them a lot of money.
okay.
All they had to paint was the areas that you could park in down green. You don't have to paint them orange. You save paint.
Okay,
There's
hold
less
a
space.
second, hold a second. The caller is there. So caller, you want to come?
Yeah, just quickly.
Yeah, let me introduce myself.
Wait, Mr. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm gonna done now. Well, like I said, okay, so other than specific data, and just maybe even the case that he laid out, which I think he said in England, it is public, but they take records of who look at these things and that
Yes.
sort of stuff.
Yes.
But like I said, with possibly his second case that he brought up, that could be made secret, okay? Other than that, we ain't got nothing for national security to be keeping secret, sir. So why all of these secret things when we don't have, other than, like I said, these exceptions to justify keeping these things secret?
And
It amazes me.
And I agree with you because at the same time we're now finding out about all these secrets, we're hearing it touted that we're getting more what do they call it? Transparency and more what other words they use, to say that things are moving away from the secretive nature before. But it's not only remaining the same, but in some instances seems to be getting worse.
But I'm finished now. For me, all of these ton-load of secret things, the overwhelming vast majority of them, is to cover up corruption.
Okay. Mr. Welcome.
Yes.
Your something about your connection is wrong because I'm getting this big feedback whenever I go up. Okay.
But it's not from my end. I thought it was from your end.
You're sounding very, very light. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning.
Much better.
Yes. Good morning, the gentleman. I didn't heard his name.
Mr. Galander.
Mr. Gilander, good morning.
Good morning.
What is fascinating about your presentation is you are indigent. I stand for correction. You are a person, concerned citizen who has interest in upgrading, enhancing, improving in that vein of progress. Now, in terms of secret, what does our government have as secret unless they are planning or some kind of secret investigation where information is yet to be revealed. Now, look at the other thing. You are an indigent again.
I don't know if indigent is the right word.
I stand for correction.
Let me explain.
Yeah. Hold a minute.
So let me clarify for you. I was born here just under 70 years ago. My mother is from Anguilla, and we have many generations there. My father came out in the 40s from Scotland. I grew up, I went to the Barstow High School here. I finished my qualifications abroad. And I'm one of the Catitians who decided that, let me go back to my country.
Yes, okay.
So I became a chartered quantity surveyor and came back for the benefit of the country.
Yes. So
Partly.
you got that clearly now.
Yeah, remember it was three islands, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla.
But he was
I will
born
not
here.
know you.
But he was born here. That's what he said.
Yes.
So I want you always to listen, because he stated that when he started also. Okay, so you may continue.
Okay. Now, you have interest in, like I said, improving whatever the situation is. These information shall be public record. So what is the barrier to deprive you or prevent you from getting these information? Plus, you have a personal stake in this, because if whatever you are planning to do is going to affect your property
Yes.
and its value. So why we should have that barrier? If it was an investor from a foreign country have interest, they would have been given the information. But you, who have rights and entitled to rights, is facing these stumbling blocks.
Okay, hold a second. He wants to ask you a question.
Basically, you're correct, sir. And one of the questions I had was that I would like to make any possible objection or item for consideration regarding the planning. And basically, because I was told that I couldn't see it and that I had to go to the developer and he had no obligation to give me, I would have to wait until the development was complete, fait accompli,
Yeah.
i.e., that is done already.
Which is ridiculous.
And how am I going to make any valid
Changes,
objection?
yes, yeah, that's ridiculous.
And the planning department currently do not enforce the teeth that they should have to enforce the law. And when something if a valid objection is made, it should be dealt with at the planning
Yes,
stage,
that's why-
not after the building is complete.
That is why it is.
And therefore, your thing about secrets is very valid, sir.
Yes, that is why it is called the planning. Okay.
Application.
Yes.
Okay? But where is the transparency? Okay, because remember, upon completion, upon what they are doing, it costs money. And I will say me, a dummy like me, who might have a valid point, versus those smart, intelligent ones, make such a poor decision, I wouldn't stand a chance when all of us should be on. And it's like they shut us out. Why our government is treating us like that?
Now, here's a question that I will ask. If this is an individual born here, living in close proximity, the value of his property can be influenced by what is put there, and he is denied access to see. Well, what will they do with the average individual who has no stake in this? I mean, this has got to be curtailed. We have got, our planning unit has got to come better than this.
So, with due respect, we have prima donnas, we have dictators, and we have one self, only my decision, my way or the highway. That's what the St. Kitts Nevis government has. And it is wrong, and I'm going to call it out, and they have to change their strategy. But guess what? Time is longer than twine, because we cannot accept these behaviors We have to have a government of transparency, empathy, compassionate, and sympathy with the people. And every nonsense having sense. And every man should be given a chance to state their claim while moving forward. But to be treating you like this, it is very disrespectful. And I don't know you. I heard your comment, and I like your thoughts, and I like your anticipation. And you should and shall be given whatever information pertaining to this trip that you are pursuing. I will leave it right there, and I'll leave it to others to make their perspective.
Okay.
Thank you for the...
Yeah, sorry about that. Hello, caller. There's another caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Okay. You can make a statement, and then we'll take a commercial break if you don't mind.
Well, I think everybody sort of all the callers in to date have supported that everything should be transparent. And we're a small nation of 50,000 people, less than that on St. Kitts. And therefore, ultimately, we should all be working together for the betterment of everybody. And then, because we're so small, more people can actually make valid contributions for consideration. And this is one of the issues that I'm trying to address here with what the callers have said about access. And you mentioned transparency.
Yes.
And what we have to remember is that a government is there to administer for us on behalf of us.
That's definitely.
They are voted in, and we have to have them as representing us in the best interest.
Yes.
But at the same time, there are lots of things like governments do have, things like town hall meetings, reaching out to the general public, particularly in neighborhoods where things are going to be affected.
Yes.
And this is something that we should encourage.
Yes, and it should
not hide.
That's it. I agree. So let's take a bit of a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll pick up from where you left off.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
And welcome back to Voices. The time is 10:44, and before we go back to Mr. Gilanders and his concerns, let's see if we can engage this individual. Hello, caller.
Good day.
Good day.
Yes. I too am very heartened by the fact that somebody took the initiative to get on the air and discuss this.
Yes.
Yes. To this extent.
Yeah.
Especially. Okay. Because these are things I would have thought that reporters would have latched on to and get the answers.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to happen. Okay. The problem with this particular development, and Mr. Gilanders did say that he's a little selfish in one stance in terms of the value in his property, kind of.
Yes.
But he has every right to be. I mean, he's a citizen, as I said, and Right. And it, I don't know, we know the area. We all know how pristine that area was,
Yeah.
right? Those trees that they took down, for instance, was there a casuarinas?
Yeah.
Katrina.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't. That added to the ambience of the area, the sounds of the wind rushing through it, those kinds of things. That I guess most people probably would not
Okay.
be interested in, but it really made a difference to that area.
Yes.
Okay. And the problem, I think,
Hold Mr. McMahon. He wants to interject. Go ahead.
So I remember those trees from when I was growing up. And what I'd like to point out is that the people who took over the Fort Thomas Hotel 20 years ago and they did a short-term operation there, they actually cut back the trees significantly. And the trees seem to be very resilient and have come back or came back.
Yes.
However, now the trees have been removed except for one solitary tree down at the ocean front.
Okay.
It's sad. There's a legislation, I believe, for
Trees
not
and-
cutting
yes.
down fruit trees.
Yes.
But there's nothing to protect mature trees, for instance, like casuarinas. The one at Bloody Point, there was a huge tree.
Yeah.
But
mahogany.
but it was actually a safety issue that required that one's removal.
Okay.
I don't understand, but in the Fort Thomas, one of the reasons I can understand them removing the trees is that the wall was a short retaining wall to the street that was being pushed over by the roots.
Okay.
and I think
That was visible.
so.
Yes.
You would have to replace the boundary wall.
Okay.
And therefore, to prevent that happening again, they obviously had to do the tree
Trees
removal.
Okay.
The problem with that is that they would now have to plant something else, and it would take time to grow to maturity.
Yeah, yeah.
So I understand your concern, I appreciate it, and I was saddened because the trees also provided hurricane protection from the wind from the west.
Yes.
But please go ahead with your other questions.
Yeah. Well, the thing, what I thought though, that they could have incorporated those trees. So what if the boundary was moved another 10 feet inwards or not? It adds to the place, to me. But anyway.
Well, sorry to interrupt. Yes, it could be moved 10 feet. But which way are you going to move the 10 feet? Are you going to move the 10 feet towards the boundary wall, which was already being damaged by the roots, and therefore remove the sidewalk? Or are you going to say take the boundary wall and just make a sort of slope berm? There are issues to be considered.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Move the boundary wall inward, so that yes, you have more space outside for a sidewalk. And what I'm saying is, those trees, whatever development is going there, those trees would have added to the ambiance and therefore should have been saved.
Yes.
But the problem is that the persons who make the final decisions on these things, they're probably experts in this field, but their field is not in terms of planning and.
But Mr. McMahon, that brings us back to the question again, where a developer wants to do X, Y, and Z. What is the purpose of the planning unit? What are the rules and the regulations that would keep that developer within a certain scope, so that yes, you can do your development, but we want to retain our history and we want to retain the ambiance and that kind of stuff?
There are experts at the planning, at development and planning level. Okay.
Professionals.
The problem is, I think, yes, professionals. The problem is they're not listened to. That's what I'm looking at. The fact that the persons who make the final decision on these things, all they're seeing, I think, is dollars. Okay, they're not seeing cents.
But then again, the question is, isn't it? Let's try to be a little bit more realistic in terms of dealing with the people in the planet unit. We know how politics works. let's say hypothetical, I'm one in the planning unit and I say, okay, but so and so. The developer goes to the politician and the developer grumbles and the politician sends a stipulation to me and say, look, let the project go as the man wanted. You understand?
But that's what I'm saying happens. That's what I'm saying. The ones who make the final decision, they see dollars, they don't see SENSE.
Yeah.
Okay? And so they overrule the professionals. Because I am absolutely certain that those professionals in there, left to themselves, would not have approved the project.
And I would
like
like
that.
to I would like to agree with you on that. Yeah.
Because you see, I mean, you fly into St. Kitts on the right side of the aircraft. That Fort Thomas site is very prominent. You cannot miss it.
Yes.
So whatever you put there, people are going to form a first impression. Oh, this is that.
Yes.
Okay, this country is that.
Hold a
It's
minute.
the same thing. It's the same thing when you're coming by sea.
Yeah.
It's at a point where, I mean, the cruise ship visitors. That's one of the main points that they're going to see.
That was one of the reasons, Mr. McMahon, why it was a location for the Fort Thomas. Its proximity, its view, it's everything.
Yeah.
But
Protection.
anyway, Mr. Galando wants to interject.
You mentioned flying into St. Kitts. There's another issue at hand about the Fort Thomas and planning and procedures, whether we should have investigations onto certain impacts, etc. But it was highlighted to me by somebody at planning, and I went across to the other side of Limekeel Bay and I took a picture. And what's happened is that the alleged bird sanctuary, I don't know how big it was or how important it was, but all those trees were bulldozed.
Wow.
Then again, we talk about trees, not
And the
fruit
sanctuary,
trees. I think.
also the sanctuary point is important because we know that a lot of the boobies, pelicans, which is our national bird,
Yes.
were in that proximity. So, I mean, all of this is not taken.
Well,
into
there should be procedures undertaken to determine the numbers, where the likely impact and where they would move to,
Yeah.
rather than just having someone, I don't want to get at the developer, but any developer
Yeah.
anywhere just going and bulldozing
I agree.
possibly protected birds, or this is part of our environment.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my concern as well. So do you feel that procedures should be more, Ms. McMahon?
Yes,
I
Mr.
think.
McMahon.
Do you feel that the procedures that we have in place are inadequate or not being enforced to carry out the investigations and planning and decisions to
Yeah.
be made properly and fairly for all concerned?
I think it's a matter of enforcement, okay? Enforcement as well as the fact that what I mentioned earlier, people final decisions on these things don't care about those things, unfortunately,
Yeah.
okay? And they look at our discussion here as esoteric. There's just what? Hobbyist kind of thing.
There are
Nothing
even
critical. And that is unfortunate. It's unfortunate
Mr.
when they look
McMahon,
at things.
Mr.
Yeah.
McMahon, I would venture to say there are even those who would suggest that we are somewhere curtailing investment and curtailing advancement and so forth, and not looking at the aesthetics and the history and
Right.
those kind of stuff.
But that in itself, that's not true in the first place. And because actually, I actually spoke to the Prime Minister about this, to be quite honest, at a forum that he had.
Okay.
And suggested that it be put somewhere else. Nobody is objecting to investment,
Yeah.
but that site,
That side. Yeah.
that site for that project, I think was out of place.
I agree.
Okay, but like I said, nobody I don't think pays attention enough or sufficient attention, because legislation is there, right? But nobody pays sufficient attention to that aspect of things.
Yeah.
And and from ever since I started my advocacy, I've always said that when it comes to large projects like this, impactful projects like this, they should be properly aired in public.
Yeah, and that is what he was suggesting when he spoke about town hall meetings and forums and that kind of stuff.
Yes, not only for the fact that, I mean, normally it's normal procedure. If you're in if you're adjacent to a development, you should have an idea or some kind of
Knowledge.
influence. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not influence, but certainly
Knowledge
you should be
knowledge is
consulted.
a word he used, and I agree with that. Should have a knowledge.
Consulted.
of-
At least you should be consulted in what's
yeah.
going on right adjacent to you. There's that, as well as the fact that there are people there are people who can probably improve the idea for the project. You know, give suggestions. They're not, since they're not affair with the area. There are other people who maybe. It just make good sense, but it's not being done. It's
Yeah.
never been done.
Okay,
Because
hold. Occasionally, when you speak, right, pause now and again, because occasionally he's giving me the signal he wants to interject and have a rapport with you.
Sure.
I have a question for you, sir. You mentioned that you had voiced opinion or suggestion that that development could have been located elsewhere. That's all well and good. I, for one, would welcome this site being developed, and I think most of us do.
Yeah.
The question, that particular site.
Okay.
And the question I have, Ms. McMahon, is what type of development should we actually have constraints on what type of development should be done in that area? I know that architectural views and elevations are one thing. That's a matter of appearance, etc., and people might have objections on that. But what type of development should be that area reserved for? Is that the word? So that you would have one, our historical heritage working in harmony with it, and also two, using the historical aspect of it to also benefit society, whether by funds or other aspects. What do you see as that site being ultimately best used for? I think that's the term I was looking for.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, remember there was a hotel built there. It was actually one of our first hotels when we ventured into tourism.
Yes.
Okay.
It was.
And not only that, it was. I think there were people with shares in it as well. It wasn't
Yes.
just totally government.
Yes.
Okay. And that in
Yeah.
itself is
Even
historical.
Mr. Galanda said that he had shares in it.
Right. That in itself is historical. Okay? So I think that it should be it should have been a multi-purpose area where you preserve the ancient history as well as some of our history. And so I thought that at least rebuilding the
Museum
hotel,
is purported there. to be
rebuilding the
incorporated.
hotel and make it.
Mr.
because-
Mr. McMahon, he was making a suggestion there. Go ahead, Mr. Galanda.
Ms. McMahon, my understanding, I stand subject to correction, is that there is going to be a small area which will be a museum to highlight our heritage, etc. I don't know how big this is or how true this is.
But if that is the case, why then would you destroy the history? It doesn't make any sense.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yes, not only that. If you look at the renderings, the drawings that they propose, when you look at the first impression you get, as
for-
Mr.
so-
Galandas mentioned,
I
is
need
the
to
Taj
interrupt.
Mahal.
I need to
You
interrupt.
don't
I
get-
need to interrupt. So those drawings that you have seen and have been circulated widely on the media are basically artistic impressions.
Yes.
Okay, those are artistic impressions. I do have copies
Of the
of
real-
elevations, which I took at Public Works. They say I couldn't get copies, but I took a picture. Nobody said I couldn't take a picture. I have them, and if you would like to see them, I'm more than welcome to meet you and show you them. Or if you give me an email off the air, I can forward, or WhatsApp, I can forward them to you.
Yes.
And I can forward also the plans that were given to me by the developer themselves, which shows what they
Which is
developed.
which is different to what was being pushed
Well,
around.
the plans that the developer showed me were 5 options, and I was basically interested in the fortifications.
Yes. Okay.
3 of them were, I think, destroy the fortifications, 2 are retain. It doesn't matter. The EIA report that I saw at planning department and the plans that accompanied it on the desk that they gave me
Yes.
showed that the fortifications were going to be removed. So that was, to me, basically an admission that
Yeah. Your
the-
main concern.
my
also.
main concern
Yes.
is the fortifications are going to be demolished.
Yes, yes. So Mr. McMahon, I'm glad he made that point because I outlined that when we were seeing the plan for the Arts Center, and I also outlined that when we were seeing the plan for the SSZ, where I said they need to move away from this AI thing where they feel they can just give us this fantastic looking artist, where give us something is more realistic. Because why I thought that there was water in the one that we saw with the arts thing is that have you seen the plan for that, Mr. McMahon, this arts thing in the Connery proximity?
I saw it a long time ago. I don't know if it's still the
Well,
same.
I would ask you to revisit it because the concrete base for that you see in that artistic representation is completely unrealistic. It is too much concrete, too high and all that kind of stuff. We know in reality that is not going to happen because if you see the landscape and then you see the trees, you see the concrete, which is the base for before you start the actual building structure, is higher than some of the trees in there. That is unrealistic.
Yeah. But with regards to the question of what should, I was going to say, a hotel, as well as, because I think the use of the area should be maximized. I think it was Brian Astafan who suggested that it be a training facility for the hotel industry. There's that possibility. A lot of other islands have a similar facility where it's run a hotel, but ostensibly for training purposes. In addition to that, bearing in mind its location, just we can't even say on the outskirts of Bastia, no, because Bastia has expanded so much. But certainly in close proximity to town, I think a convention center would be in a good place for a convention center as well. Okay?
One question there, so one point there. You have a very good point, but what I would point out to you is that the structure that is there currently, which actually will be removed, I'm not talking about the fortification, I'm talking about the main hotel building, that probably has some structural issues. It is now 60 years old, and it has been abandoned for decades, and water has made it ingress. I walked through it last year, and there was one toilet remaining in it. The entire place has been gutted. The kitchen is totally empty except for floor, wall, and ceilings.
Well, I wasn't thinking
and
it
therefore, I believe that your suggestion of a conference center, yes, because then you would demolish that building,
right,
remove all traces, and then you would build a purpose-built, not a make-do, a purpose-built entity.
Yeah.
Thank you for that suggestion. That would be a very good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, That's what I was thinking. You know, the other thing is, are you actually saying that we're not going to have those spinnerets or whatever they call them? The design that you saw don't have those things.
The elevation to Wigley Avenue, I saw that there were 3 domes. I can't remember the actual details of it. It was a very small scale thing, but I did see 3 domes on either side, and then one in the center.
Domes themselves are very, very prominent.
Well, it does make an impact, and behind those was where the building was, for the most part, was a long reflecting pool, grass areas on either side, and then there was some other building to the west. I don't know what the purposes of each building was or will be. I am not party to all that, but I do welcome the development. But I think the development. Before I finish, but I do believe that development should be representative of our culture and heritage.
I agree.
Right. But I was wondering if that reflecting pool that you talked about couldn't be multi-purpose as well, because remember that for a long time, the only Olympic size, I think, swimming pool was the Fort Thomas.
Correct.
Yes, right. Yeah. So again, it's maximizing the use of the thing. I mean, and there's no reason why that pool can't be dual purpose as well. It would certainly attract locals to the area just for that. Rather than using the hotel.
Sorry, what I've seen is not actually a swimming pool as such. It's something about 20, 30 feet wide, maybe, and 100 feet long, something like that. It's where you would walk along. Yes, where you would walk along.
Reflecting pool, so it's probably not deep either.
Yeah. So what Mr. McMahon is suggesting is that where you don't, even though you have an investment, you don't have to change all of the aesthetics and so forth.
No.
Yeah.
Right. And the last thing, did you see the plans for the revetment, the stabilizing the
Sure,
coast?
yeah.
That's another aspect I would like to deal with in this this chat on voices.
Yes.
And I was waiting until we had sort of mostly dealt with the Fort Thomas development. But you are quite right, because that revetment will impact or has to do with the Fort Thomas, and I'd like to deal with that in a whole sort of segment.
Well,
but it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that this thing was not aired and discussed in public before final arrangements were made. I cannot for the life of me understand why governments don't listen.
They don't listen.
They're not expert in everything, right? Why on earth would something as impactful as this not be aired before it's finalized? That's my biggest disappointment, to be quite honest.
Well, a benefit of the development that, from the plans I've seen, is that we'll have increased employment of taxi drivers taking people to the development.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the final purpose and offerings that will be done there. I understand some of it might be a little museum, or some aspect of it related to museum. I understand that some would be a romantic setting where weddings and other things could take place, maybe even minor meetings. I'm not aware of any accommodation being on the site, because that would be a citizenship by investment issue, which would be another issue if it had been. But I don't see any plans.
But it was interesting, though, Mr. Gillanders, that they said that it was going to be leased initially and maybe bought eventually.
Yes.
That is something else that we should really, I don't know, how could you, do you buy a national
a heritage
national
site,
monument.
yeah.
You know,
We don't even know what it was sold for, and that is our public
this
property.
is
Yeah.
really crazy. Man.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is nonsense.
And
to be
and,
quite
and,
honest.
and to Mr. Gilanda, I mean, I hear you with all due respect, but we don't, as you said, you don't have a problem with the development and so forth. But our problem, yours and mine, and Mr. McMahon and others, is do not destroy our culture and heritage. That is our problem.
Incorporated.
Yes.
That's
is
my
it.
belief.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
How could you do this without the National Trust and them being involved?
Yeah, this is the
All
trend.
o'clock.
This
What
is the trend. that
what
we-
you have to remember, sir, is that the National Heritage Trust is actually funded in part by the government, and while they might like to protect various aspects of our heritage with regard to old structures,
Yes.
the government will ultimately have the ruling decision, and the government will make that decision, well, some might like to say based on the interests of the citizens of St. Kitts.
Yes.
My point is, well, let us be part of that.
Yeah.
Let us be able to see.
I
Let us
agree.
be able to contribute.
I agree.
Let us all work together.
I agree.
Well, it's obvious that something like this was not necessarily in the interests of the citizens, and we had no input, apparently. It was done, obviously, at a high level, top down, and I think that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I just hope that the fact that you're here today means that there'll be more circumspect
Discussion.
in the future, and it doesn't happen again like this. Any future project doesn't happen like this.
But
I mean,
Mr.
it's outrageous that it continues to happen in 2020.
But
What-
Mr. McMahon, go ahead.
One thing I would say on to finalize on your point there, what you have to remember is we in St. Kitts and many people around the world, the general public, has short memories.
Well, that has already
And I
been said.
would hope that this, although I'd point out that the Fort Thomas or Fortlands apparently is residential, industrial, and commercial zoning.
Yeah.
So that means anything goes.
Yeah.
I would like to see the zoning or be able to view zoning
Yeah.
of various areas on St. Kitts.
Yeah.
And
Well, zoning, but what you also have to be careful of is that your roads there, the road in front of you and in the environs, don't become, you know how they tend to attract vendors and so on. You don't, I know it's a sensitive topic, but you don't want a particular type of thoroughfare, to be quite honest, right? That's what I was talking about when I began with the pristine nature of the area.
Yeah.
I would think that we would want to keep it that way,
Yeah.
right? So although it might be politically ticklish to tell people where you can't set up shop next to the development there and by the residents and that kind of thing, the zoning, and that's what I said, there are laws, but they have to be enforced. And they should not be enforced at the whim and fancy of any politician whose agenda is different to the overall interests of the country, unfortunately.
But Mr. McMahon, we're seeing this trend. We're seeing it where SSZ, look when we hear about it. We're seeing where this influx of people who are supposed to come, what they call them again?
Refugees?
Refugees and whatever. And look when we hear about it, right? In agriculture, we see things happening, and the majority, you see the farmers were here. Look when we hear. So why is all of a sudden there's a lack of communication?
Yeah. And one thing, Mr. Gilander, you know what would have been nice? Lime Keel, historically, was a good, decent bathing beach. Mm-hmm. Now and that's where the effluent from the hospital, something with the brewery. I remember going on a little walk across there one time, and I saw this red stuff coming down. Mm-hmm. They said it was from the brewery. I have no idea what it was.
so,
But Oh.
So one injection was also from the bottling company as well.
Yeah, when he said brewery, that's what
And
he
there
Well,
was
yeah,
the
okay.
bottling company. I may understand
the bottling company and the brewery were different?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't even know.
And
that.
then
I thought they
also
were-
you would have the grey water, what we call grey water, which is sinks,
Yes.
showers,
Yeah.
etc., coming down, and that was to be going into the Limekill Bay. It unfortunately does still do it in the Barstow Harbour Bay.
Oh, okay.
And yes, Ms. McMahon, you're quite right. There could
It would
be
be
ways
nice if it was incorporated in the development
to clean it
you know,
up.
have some,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
you know, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, but in terms of the bottling company, I used to think that the bottling company and the brewery were the same, and that the brewery decided to discontinue with the bottling part of it. But there were two different entities.
I don't want to say too much, but I'd like to point out that the demise of the bottling company was due to Coca-Cola Limited after some 60 years
Okay.
of good service. And they, I think, wanted to, my view is they wanted to centralize the production of Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
and therefore then have a single distribution point.
Okay.
But the bottling company is totally separate
Okay.
from the brewery.
I didn't know that. Okay. So we're going to take a bit of a Mr.
Okay, then.
Mahan, you
Yeah.
you can hang up now, but we would like if anywhere during the discussion, and as a matter of fact, he's whispering, come back because he likes to interact with you. Okay. So we're gonna cut now. You can, but feel free to come back anytime. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna take that commercial break.
St. Kitts and Nevis listens to
Win FM 98.9.
Win FM 98.9.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hosfords.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. Rewarding your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
What are you doing?
She said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, she said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, cause when we out and we active living we life. So when we drink, rude boy. So when we drink, rude boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we are we building up our vibes. So when we drink, rude boy. So when we drink, rude boy. Why?
And the time in the studios of winnfm 98.9, 11:20, and we're having a bit of an intriguing discussion, and I think a timely discussion, considering what is happening in that proximity of the Old Fort Thomas Hotel, and it's linked with the individual who is having our discussion today, and that is Mr. Douglas Gillanders. So it's back to you, Mr. Douglas Gillanders, and as I stated before that break, we follow your lead, so you can go right ahead.
Well, just following on the planning permission, etc., of the development, which ultimately I'm not objecting to, but I really must reiterate that I am for the retention
Yes,
of the
all
fortifications.
history, yes.
And the developer has shown me plans which he said they're going to be
Takes
retained.
that in mind,
Okay?
in consideration.
So, but in addition to that, the EIA, Environmental Impact, whatever, report dealt with another issue, which would be increased traffic.
Yes.
The traffic would then now come along from, which was the main road around the Fort Point.
Yes.
It would come from the Cenotaph, around past the old Fisherman's Wharf,
Yes.
along the cliff,
Yes.
and then up Wigley Avenue. The problem with this is that years ago, we started putting up, what do you call it, galvanized steel
Braces.
guardrails, because obviously there was a danger.
Yes.
If you start down near the War Memorial, the guardrails that are there, although it's only probably 20 feet down, the guardrails that are there have basically completely eroded and are useless.
Okay.
As you go further around and you're opposite Windermere, which was the white wall building, which I don't know if you said, but Ribby's restaurant is there now.
Okay.
And before that was a school,
Yeah.
a primary school. And that is no longer there. I don't know the reason, whether or not they were worried about the danger to
Yes,
people.
yes.
That's another issue that I don't know. But from there, directly opposite that entrance to that property, there was a big concrete retaining wall from probably the first part of 1900s.
Yes.
And I have been round on the shoreline and I've looked up at the cliff. And even behind that retaining wall, earth is being eroded.
Yes.
In my youth, shall we say, I recall that there was a small wall, basically a guard wall, wouldn't say retaining wall, on the edge of the cliff.
Yes.
And that prevented people falling over. Now, to build a wall like that, the cliff had to be further out, so you
Yes.
wouldn't build it on. Well, the cliff has undermined to such an
Yes.
extent now that that wall has now fallen in
Okay.
and gone down to the shoreline before, some 30, 40 feet.
Wow.
And I have seen with my own eyes how much the road has been eroded
yes.
underneath or undermined.
Yes.
And this is a concern of mine,
It should be.
right? Now, the thing is that...
Hold a second.
Sure.
We have a caller,
Sure.
and I want to at least acknowledge him. Hello, caller?
Yes, Quint?
Yes.
Yes. Well, number one, those people who don't want to send here are really deportees, not refugees.
Yes.
Or saying that really calling for.
Yeah.
What I'm really calling for is that, like I said, the reason for a lot of these secrecies, okay, I believe, is to hide, cover up corruption, okay? No. What I'm saying ties into this as well. You remember you said you saw, and I saw it too, the video with DJ Maui show when he went down to the place, okay?
Yes.
The dogs them and stuff. Well, he did a video before that. I don't know if it is the one just before it or the second one before it, where he said that there have been contractors or people who have been who was supposed to be responsible for developing certain government projects, but they opted out, and he heard from them that they said it was for some unsavory reason, I will not repeat specifically what he said. I don't want to get in any problem.
Yeah, please don't do so.
Yes, right? But it was for unsavory reason why they dropped out of they didn't bother continue developing the government project. So when for example, when you Nat Mahan and the gentleman and other people say that they don't understand why government don't come to the public before we do these things and those other stuff. And as Mahan used a very interesting pun. They look at the dollars, but they don't look at cents.
Yes.
Okay? And that sort of stuff. Very interesting pun. It ain't because they ain't no better, no. They're no better. But because of unsavory reasons. Okay? And it's like I said, I don't have a degree. But I completely understand what you all are saying and understand what you all are saying. And I don't have a degree. You're going to tell me these people who have all kind of degrees, including doctorates, don't understand? They're no better.
Yeah.
They're no better.
Yeah.
But it's other reasons why certain things are not done.
Yeah.
And they have no interest for them to be done. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for that intersection, but
Back to where you were.
I would like to continue on to the undermining.
Yes, the undermining.
The railing, the galvanized railing guardrail, one part of it, the foundations are actually hanging out in the open. And when you construct guardrails, there should be an amount of land behind it to hold it in place.
Yeah.
Well, there is nothing like that now. It's undermined to that extent. In this regard, before this Fort Thomas...
Let me ask you this question. Are you aware because I know when the ships come in, the tours tend to take that route. So are they still continuing there? Yeah.
Before this Fort Thomas development came to fore, I have been writing to the government expressing concern about the erosion.
Yes.
I've been asking for some work to be done.
Yeah.
I understand in October 2024, the Public Works Department issued a tender for revetment works to the Fort Thomas Cliff area. And subsequently, due to my, is it nagging or persistence? And I think we should all do this because
I agree.
Because until governments work, I'm not talking government ministers, but unless the government, which administers us, works in the best interests of ourselves,
people,
we must pursue it.
I agree.
Okay,
and that's what I've been saying. I've been saying our people. Our comfort level has reached that we just feel that we just take everything. So go ahead.
We also feel that we don't have any input.
Yeah.
And they will be ignored. But so I wrote and I also contacted the traffic division of the police and pointed out the danger. And they, last year I think it was, or early last year or the year before, they installed a one-way system. In other words, you could travel from Fort Thomas to town, but you couldn't travel from town to Fort Thomas.
Okay.
The reason
on that same
on
road.
that stretch of road.
Yes, yes.
The reason for that is that, or the reasoning behind that was that they didn't want people traveling on the cliff edge, and therefore the vehicle that they were traveling in could have enough weight to crumble. Remember that also when you have an open road, containers, etc., with heavy and propane tankers, those are very heavy vehicles and they could make a significant impact. There are also buses, have numbers of people in them, not necessarily the pedestrian buses that we have from town, but also taking tour buses going around. And I wrote pointing out that this could be a problem if a bus went over and people were injured or died. One of my concerns is for the whole island is that you remember that there was a robbery or attempted robbery of tourists down at Brimston Hill.
Yes.
And
yes.
the reaction of the cruise ships was quite impactful.
Yes, most
Can you imagine what the
What would
impact
happen?
if
Yeah.
one of their
Yeah.
passengers died
But
due to us being warned about it and not doing anything about it for years now, right? And I would also copied a number of these letters that I've written to the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And I pointed out, sir, the buck stops at the top.
Yes, and I agree. But let me interject here. Greg just made a statement. Greg said, I don't have any degree, but I can understand clearly what you're saying. But these people have all kind of degree, doctorates and whatnot. So you think they don't understand? They understand. So here are you, a concerned citizen, saying, which me, who walks a lot, I walk in that vicinity, used to go around early in the morning and sit on the edge, not on the edge of the cliff, but on the edge of the wall, on the inner side.
Which is no longer there.
Okay. And look at the view. Now, you want to tell me that people are saying concern, so you decide, okay, you can use it as a one-way, which I kind of understand, but you want to tell me you don't understand the risk that even on the one-way, because of the undermining, that somewhere down the line something can happen, and then, as you said, you imagine the repercussions?
Well, in my letters to Public Works, and I've copied them to like the Attorney General, the Prime Minister's office, Minister Maynard, Ministers Henderson. Two reasons for those to be included. Minister Maynard actually is constituency on the west side of Wrigley Avenue, so the development falls in his jurisdiction.
Yes.
And I believe he mentioned something about, the revetment was going to be part of the project. I have no other information on that, whether that is going to be part of it or it will be a government implementation.
Yes.
And therefore, I copied it also to Minister Henderson, so that because it is her, she is also Minister of Tourism, and coming back to that, but her constituency is on the east side of Wrigley Avenue.
Well, you're very detailed. You're very detailed.
Right. And the fact is that I also wanted her to, which I highlighted or alluded to earlier, that the impact on our tourism industry.
Yes.
And therefore, I would ask her to use whatever influence she has to protect our tourist industry by having adequate repairs or revetment to that area. And furthermore, the reason for introducing that in this discussion is that the tourists that are going to go through this new development are going to be passing that area.
Yeah.
So we should ensure that they have safe passage.
That's it.
And no life, whether it is mine, my family, my friends, fellow citizens, or any visitors to the country, should be exposed to.
So let me ask you this question now. For the letters that you have written and copied to this and recopied, have you gotten any replies?
I think about 2.
Okay.
And none from the ministers or the prime ministers or the attorney general's office.
Okay.
I'm actually asking, and my next one is to go to the Government Information Service and ask them where the planning laws are going back to thing, where I can find that. In fact, when I mentioned that Nevis had permission to look at commercial developments, etc., I had actually written to Mr. Brantley.
Okay.
And he referred me to very quickly to the planning official in Nevis administration. And they were very helpful. The person there was very polite.
Okay.
And the information was well forthcoming.
It's good to hear that, because
I would like that to happen here in St. Kitts.
And I'm glad you interjected that, because I've often said we don't get here, and I don't get here to malign people. We get here just to keep you on your toes, to keep you aware of the fact that you have citizens, and your citizens within your country must feel comfortable about what is being done and how it's being done. It's as simple as that. So do you feel that you can give you can take the liberty of telling us the two who you got replies from, or you would prefer not to?
They were from the physical planning
Okay,
department.
okay, so you don't, yeah, that's good enough.
I seem to have a email and WhatsApp communication.
With them.
However, they have actually written saying that I will not be allowed to see the plans. Carte blanche. That's it. Straight
Yes,
across the board.
yes.
I'm not allowed to see the plans.
Okay.
Now, my point is, I will admit, and I would like to point out, in fairness to the planning division, they said that if I have any objections, I could write to them.
Yes.
Now, I ask a question. How can I write to someone to complain about something for which
You've
is
already
being constructed,
complained, yes.
but I don't know what is being built?
Yes.
So I have to wait until it's completely built
Yeah.
before I express any concern.
Yeah.
And then it's fait accompli. It's done. I have no comeback.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Okay, lost that caller. Yeah, look, we're thankful for citizens like you because you're persistent, and a lot of us will tend to give up, throw up our hands, but you're very persistent, and that is good. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Yes.
Yes.
I was saying that it makes a mockery of the freedom of information legislation that we passed.
Most definitely.
Okay? Yes. And keep that there and all of that. You know, they're just, it's almost as if they're just laughing at us. It's disrespectful.
So
I find.
disrespectful.
Right. But anyway, I wondered if, because actually I did think of the development for actually the entire area before. And I wondered if the revetment can be just put in first, because if it's one thing we know how to do here is move rocks.
Yeah.
Okay? So if we
Old road.
reclaim,
Yeah.
if we can reclaim even, I don't know, 10, 20 foot, just something like what was done at Old
Yes,
Road,
yeah.
okay? And extend that from the Fort Thomas right around to Fisherman's Wharf,
Yeah.
and extend it a little further, and revisit the idea that Ocean Terrace had before of putting a beach there, you know, a man-made beach there, right? You know, protected, of course, by these breakwater rocks.
Hold a
Because
second.
that-
Hold a second. Go ahead.
Two things on your points here. One, we're moving rocks. Somebody made the suggestion, well, demolish the Fort Thomas building and use the rubble for the revetment.
Yeah.
I don't know how suitable that material is for it, and I would have to be guided accordingly.
Yes.
Secondly, as to a beach, on the plans shown to me by the developer, is that further round, below the fortifications, there would be a pier, and where boats could come along and dock. I have not seen any marine impact assessment report. I have known of no soundings being taken for the depths of the water there
Yeah.
and the suitability. But I know that that point is fairly exposed from
Yes.
the east, west, and south.
Most definitely.
Generally, the current goes from east to west,
Yeah.
so that's a given. And we have more protection from the Bastille, Bird Rock area for that rather than the west.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the beach would build up there. There'd have to be a significant marine investigation. If you look at Port Zante and you look to the west towards the cenotaph of Port Zante, the beach is constantly being eroded. In fact, the government had to put rocks there to
Yeah.
protect rocks again.
Yeah.
We know to move them. Rocks again to protect the shoreline. and this is another issue that would occur further along.
Yeah.
Although there is no sand along the fort point, it's all rock.
Yeah.
And some of it is very shallow.
Mr. McMahon, let me ask you this. What do you think, what would be your response to the fact that they've made it a one-way and seem to be casually moseying along and as opposed to making sure you do adequate repair and reconstruction?
Well, I guess the one way was for safety reasons.
I know.
If it's fixed, then there's no reason why it can't revert back to what it was.
Sorry to interject. Subsequently, since the court has moved there, and I don't know what the reason was, the traffic division have removed the no entry signs prohibiting the one-way traffic. So it is now back to two-way traffic. And because the increased erosion, etc., it's even more of a bigger danger. And I really would like to use this forum to impress upon the ministers that are affected, that I mentioned, and the Prime Minister of the country to do this, because it would protect this huge development that we're doing, and also our tourist development as well, or industry. So it has a multifold aspect, this development,
and to do it expeditiously. But you see, Mr. McMahon, I'm glad he interjected there, because your answer, I was a bit disappointed in your answer, because when you said, well, you know, if it's a one-way for the safety, we're well aware of that. But what Mr. Gilander said is that he has seen it, he has scrutinized that from the sea area and seen the erosion happening. And he also made statements to the fact that the railing and all so forth have fallen off. And so why risk this and saying it's a one-way, and now to compound the foolishness, if I may use such a word, you've gone back to a two-way?
Yeah, so that makes no. I agree. That makes no sense. That's what I'm saying. That you make it. I wasn't aware that it was two-way now again.
Yeah.
Right? You make it two-way when you fix the problem. But you see, the thing is, most people who would use that road would not see the danger, right? And I would think the mere fact that we've been talking
why
about.
would you not see the danger? It is obvious. Even I who walk, and I walk across, and I walk, make sure I stay on the left-hand side if I'm going down, and on the right-hand side if I'm coming up, and I'm walking. So
when you look over the railway, the railings, you can actually see the erosion.
That's it.
Yes. Mm. You don't want to lean over too far either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
So you understand, Mr. McMahon, why this individual is being so persistent, because the system is taking risk.
Yeah, and I thought that, you know, because when you're driving, you don't see the risk. Mm-hmm. But as you say, if you look over, you can see it. And I am sure that public works have looked at the area. They, above everybody else, I think, would know the risk and could analyze it and make whatever temporary adjustment.
One point on that. In defense of public works, they actually, I mentioned this before, they actually had a tender for the revetment of that area in October 2024, and nothing came of it. It is unfortunate that Public Works did not take this under its wing and have it as a Public Works project.
But having said that, as far as I am aware, Public Work has to be given leeway from the authorities, from other authorities, including the government or the planning system or whatever. I used to work in Public Works, and Public Works can't do anything unless it is given a directive from.
Well, I would hope.
Well, I can recommend priorities.
Yes, they can.
I would like. Well, with position that we're in now, right? So let us look at the way forward. Let us not go and, well, we can cast blame and whatever, but it doesn't solve anything. The way forward is that there's an issue that is going to potentially affect lives. And then, secondly, it's going to affect the access to the Fort Thomas development. And third, it has the potential to affect our tourism economy. So we need to address this issue as soon as possible.
I agree. And this is why I said, and it's not about blaming. This is why when you use the term public work, I interjected because I used to work in public works. And I am saying public works, as Mr. McMahon says, they can make recommendations, but they cannot implement. So public works, if something happens, you can't blame public works. You're going to have to go higher. And as you've stated in one of your communications, the buck stops where?
At the top.
Okay.
But then I would hope that with this Voices episode today, that information would get back to the ministers.
It will.
And that this issue, which is a very important issue, could become a high priority for the safety of all.
And that is why I commend individuals like you for your persistence, because it is your persistence that has brought you here. Go ahead, Mr. McMahon.
I would say that we should take advantage of the fact that a major project is going to be done there.
I agree.
To do other things that would
enhance and develop,
support it.
Yes, support it, right? And that is why I was suggesting the idea of the rocks out and the beach. What I was thinking about the beach, when I was thinking about the beach, I was also looking at the fact that the tourist ships coming there. It would be nice to me if, for instance, it's a display of the types of beaches we have in St. Kitts.
Okay.
So you keep some black sand and you separate them with some rocks. And have a white sand beach next to it. And also I was thinking in terms of the Ocean Terrace Inn, because that seemed to have been, I don't know, just
another issue.
Gone to the dogs,
that's another issue.
But I was thinking, we know that in order to consider the beachfront property, you can't have a road in between. Perhaps put some kind of tunnel from OTI to the new beach that is created. And like I said, it would steadier if you had breakwater outside there.
Okay.
One point on that, I commend your suggestion. One thing that you have to consider is that the whole of Barstay, grey water goes into the Barstay area. And you will see the grease and whatnot. If you go up to OTI, you'll see the grease on the water.
Yeah.
That comes around and it goes right around the 4 points.
Yeah.
So if you put anything out there to trap sand, a beach, you're going to trap the grey water and the debris. And
this is predicated though on a sewage system for Barstay, which we've been talking about for ages and not doing. And there is right now a burn, a burn coming out before
the beach.
Before the beach at the
Yes.
Wouldn't that stop? Wouldn't that?
Well, not necessarily, because it depends on the tide inflow and outflow. You know, when it goes out and it stays out there in a certain proximity, when it comes back in, you know what is going to happen? It's going to come back in that circular enclave there.
Yeah. Well, certainly some kind of study would have to be done. Marine study would have to be done about
absolutely.
These things. And yes, absolutely. We'd need to have some kind of sewage, wastewater treatment, sewage and disposal.
Mr. Galando wants to interject again.
You're quite correct, which is what I was alluding to about the treatment of grey water, etc. The groin that you're talking about down near the War Memorial, or the Cenotaph, that was done by OTI, and they were going along the lines of making a a marina area.
Yes.
But you have to be very careful with berms, which is what you talked about doing research and investigations. I'll come back to that. Is that if you look in the very corner of that, that is where the rocks have had to be placed to stop further erosion.
Yeah.
I was also had the honor of being the honorary consul for the Kingdom of the Netherlands for St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, and the BVI for some 32 years. I retired last year.
Okay.
And when Port Zante was touted, I had the ambassador come up from Trinidad, from the embassy, and we made a small presentation to the government. There's one government official, and the idea was that a Dutch company would be allowed or provided to make a whole marine survey, and then nothing is for free. They would like Dutch companies to be able to tender for some works. That was dismissed, and Port Zante was built as it is now. The problem is that we have over, 30 years now? 20, 30 years?
I'm not too
So a number of years, a couple of decades, we have now seen the long-term effects of erosion.
Yes.
And if you go on the eastern side, the Bird Rock side of Port Zante, the sand has not built up there either.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to point out is that it is very important to do intensive marine investigations and get their professional recommendations.
Mr. McMahon?
But we do know that water works. Those breakwaters work because look at Frigate Bay, the southern side of Frigate Bay, right? They seem to have worked. We seas and the sands have remained. So it's quite possible. Like I said, I mean, a marine study would I think, eventually do it, but suggest the best way. But to me, there's no reason why we can develop that whole area across there, make it a little park, and I know it's might be unpalatable for some who don't like the idea of paying to go to the beach.
Yeah.
They don't mind paying to go to Brimstone Hill. So call it a park, develop it, the park, and charge some maintenance thing, because certainly we don't want to undercut the taxi drivers who would be making money carrying people to carry tourists to beaches.
We're just about, we're 11:53, so we're almost out of time. So you can make some final.
No, I leave it
You'll
to
just
Mr.
leave it
Landers
there.
to make his final pitch, and let's hope that he's listened to.
I hope so
and that
too.
the authorities do something about this rather than what they've been doing so far.
What they've been doing so far. Okay, you take care, and thanks for your input.
Well, just in conclusion, I'd like to say that one, this discussion was about retention of our historic heritage.
Yes.
Particularly in this case, the fortifications at Fort Thomas. Secondly was the implication of the development. Third was their access to the road and that the traffic issues would come across.
Yes.
And fourth was the revetment to the cliff. And fifth was a bit more transparency and working with the general public in planning, and so that the public could make meaningful contributions.
Yes.
Okay, you will get some that might not be as meaningful, but everybody should be able to allow to submit their concerns, and they should be able to see what is going to happen so that they can make an informed concern or submission. What we don't want to see is that, oh well, too late, we demolish the buildings. You cannot replace historical structures, although the developer in this case wants to demolish and reconstruct elsewhere on the site, that's in my mind not acceptable.
Not acceptable because
So
it's not going to be
it's not
true to
original.
history. Yes,
It's not original.
Yeah.
So they already have plans for doing it as it is there and incorporating that, and I would like to see that change be made, that they would incorporate and retain the fortifications for the benefit of all. And I wish them success in the whole development, and that it does provide employment for everyone in St. Kitts. But I do believe that we also need to have input in these decisions.
Well, Mr. Gillander, I must commend you because you put your case forward well, and one, and number two, you've also over and over stated you don't have a problem with the development.
No.
You just want our heritage and history to be kept intact. Okay, so I commend you on that, and as Mr. McMahon said, and I concur, let's hope that people take heed to what you say, and going forward we'll see some steps being made to make sure that we as a people are feeling comfortable in terms of our, and involved in terms of our history and heritage and progression. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your